Today we have the pleasure of hosting Madalyn South, a key figure in the digital marketing arena and currently the brand director at Dwell Home Market. Madalyn is at the forefront of developing dynamic e-commerce strategies that not only catch the eye, but captivate the heart. From her early days influenced by the rapid evolution of digital media, Madalyn has carved a niche in enhancing brand visibility and engagement across major platforms like TikTok and Meta. Madalyn, thank you for joining us. Let's dive into the digital world and uncover the strategies behind successful brand marketing in our increasingly connected era. Madalyn, welcome to the spotlight.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I want to jump straight into it, but let's not forget our co-host here, Kevin Etchemadia.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello. Glad you were able to join us. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you. This is so awesome.
Yes. Madalyn, could you give us a brief overview of what it is that you do and what led you to your career path now?
Yes. So now I am the brand director for Dwell Home Market. I do anything and everything from taking our photography photos for social media, running our website. I created the website on Shopify a couple years ago. It's on several iterations since then. Sales, all social platforms, business development for them at times, and recently a few design boards for some design clients. So a little bit of everything.
Wow.
Yeah. But getting there, I graduated from college in 2019 with a degree in marketing, minor in economics and sociology. I did some freelance after college, and then, of course, I was like, I really need something pretty stable, so while I was trying to get experience, I also took a 9-to-5 at the bank, super random, but, worked. I knew some people there.
Did you want to be were you a teller?
Yeah, I was a teller.
Did you want to be a teller, or was it just the job?
It was just the job.
Okay.
And I became a loan officer, and the person that I knew was like, well, maybe eventually you can be in their marketing department. And I was like, yeah, I mean, maybe. So,
and is marketing something you knew you wanted to do?
Yes, definitely always wanted to do marketing. I loved art and design in high school and college, and I loved doing my art. I always took an art class as a happy class, and I was like, well, I'm not Picasso, so how can you make this practical? And I was like, marketing, because I also love telling stories and all that.
You were thinking about marketing in high school?
So yeah, I was actually my Student Government Association's marketing director when I was a senior. Yeah.
The more you know.
It was like
you were heading in that path.
I'm very driven. My dad always talks about your goals, and so you got to put your goals down, and then you just start walking towards them. But
Good dad.
Okay. Yeah.
That's something I've reflected about a lot. It's just like you're nailing it, because I've always thought, man, if I knew what I wanted to do earlier, it'd be so much farther ahead. And when I look at your career trajectory, Kevin and I were talking about it, and we were like, wherever she wants to go, she's going to go.
Oh, thank you.
Just crazy.
It definitely was interesting, because if I say that about Instagram, I'm like, dang, if I would have known, I would have started trying to be a creator in college, but
Yeah.
but my mom was afraid of the internet, so.
See if you can protect the trends and see if you can see what's coming up next. Yeah. Good luck. If you figure that out, please let us know.
Oh, yeah. I read Marcus John's book about Vine. I was obsessed with it, but yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So perfect. It's a perfect segue. Who are some of your earliest influences, or what was a pivotal moment that shaped everything for you?
Pivotal moment that shaped everything. Some of my I think some of the influencers that I kind of was looking at all the time is really, it stems from Vine, which is kind of funny. Marcus Johns, and then the Dem White Boys that were on Instagram. I ended up following.
I don't know. You know who this is?
I knew.
Yeah. You gotta flash a little picture of them. I ended up following most of the guys into now, because they're very close to my age. Cole is married to Savannah, and it's their whole little family's growing. I just think it's so
You're
fun.
Invested.
I'm so invested. And then Jordan Dooley. Yeah. And those are just random encouraging people that are fun to watch and entertaining.
Oh, he's got the family channel, right? He's got a family channel?
With his little girl. Yeah. And it's so emotional, because the first child is not his, and he adopted her at their wedding. It was so emotional. But yeah, not really marketing pivotally, but I think
it's personal branding though.
Yeah, definitely. Just really uplifting people to watch on the internet. When people would talk about, you really can go down a deep dark hole of you shouldn't look. That was a huge thing in marketing for me when I was in college of like, if I'm going to go into this, I want to be a good steward of my gifts, and I want to like, I love doing this, so I want to tell good stories that like help people. And so my like one of my senior papers was about like how can like in the fashion and the makeup industry for girls, like how do you make it like this is fun and like enhances who you already are, not like you don't look good enough, you need this. So obviously didn't go into makeup and fashion, but I went into design. So, which actually is so fun because it's pretty much always uplifting, I feel, because it's like, this is your space, let's make you love it, especially when people are moving and they don't want to be moving. But you asked about a pivotal moment.
Yes.
I think would be when I wrote my 9-page, this is what I want to do for you for Dwell Home Market when I applied for the job, because I had been working at Regions.
Yep.
And then because of COVID, freelance is gone. And another pivotal moment, I think, is when I got connected to Liz from BuzzFeed through a friend of a friend. And she let me work for her new app that she had made. It was a dating app, but there's no money. We're all just trying to figure this out. And so I was like, I'm willing to work for knowledge. And so I worked for free for a year for her on California time from 5 to 11 p.m. my time. And I worked a 9 to 5 during the day.
How did that connection with Liz happen?
So I have a really great friend from high school named Ashley, and she's in New York now and everything, and we are like marketing friends, continue to be friends after high school and everything. And she texted me one day and she was like, hey, I know this girl from BuzzFeed who needs like an intern, and it's not unpaid, but if you want experience. And I was like, let me have it. And so I like talked to, it's so funny because I interviewed with her like in my car, in my bank clothes, and she like on FaceTime, and she was like, where are you? And I was like, my job. Like, please let me work for you. And so she texted me like 2 days later and she's like, I'll take you. Let's just do it. Let's figure this out. And I was like, all right. So that was a huge thing of like, okay, everybody, she's from BuzzFeed and she has no idea what she's doing. So I'm like, I don't know. And then
That's very comforting though.
Yeah.
Like,
she created, I mean, such awesome things there. And I was like, okay, so I'm just going to figure it out. And then of course, I
was going to say, how did that then transition you to where you currently are?
So my now husband, he's my boyfriend at the time, bought his house. And my mom and I were like scounging the internet, trying to figure out how to help him furnish it. And of course, like, he's a guy and he's coming with nothing.
A chair, a TV.
That's all you need. That's all you got.
Is it comfortable? We're good. Like,
yeah.
I don't really care what it looks like. Like, if I can sit down and just be like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Maybe put my foot up.
There was a time where I asked my wife if I could take our rocking chair and put it in the living room.
Oh,
She
gosh.
was like, absolutely not.
No.
What is wrong with you?
And so, but it was so funny because he really wanted to make the space his own. I was actually quite proud of him because he was really into the shopping experience, which is like maybe not as into it as I would be. Like, oh, I would shop for hours, and he's like, let's walk into one store and pick something that looks nice. But we found Dwell on Instagram. We went in there, ended up liking a lot of stuff, and so we ended up buying from there. And then about 6 months later, they posted they needed a social media manager, and I was like, all right, this has got to be good. It's Dwell. And so I wrote a 9-page proposal as to what I would do for them if they picked me. And it was like, pick me, choose me, you know.
I'm trying to think of the longest thing I ever wrote, and it was not 9 pages.
It was a full SWAT. Like, I was like pulling out all the stops that I learned. And then when I left the interview, he was like, go get your drug test right now. I was like, okay. And then they called me the next day and they're like, it's you.
Wow.
At that point, it kind of has to be. I mean,
Yeah.
you showed who you were very quickly. The whole driven component, like your dad had always kind of nudged you towards. What did you put in that 9-pager then?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What did you write? Like,
So I literally went through every single account that they had and wrote down what I saw they were doing well and what I saw that they could improve on, and like opportunities that they had, what their competitors were doing on those different platforms, and then the accounts they didn't have or maybe had made and they had 0 followers, TikTok, of what you should do. And this is what I would do if I was running your social media, which I feel like now thinking back, I'm like, that could be kind of risky. They could just be like, oh, thank you, and like move on.
Yeah.
But like, what does that harm me? Because I'm, yeah.
what do I have to lose?
Yeah, what do I have to lose at this point? And like, you obviously need somebody, so like, I'm gonna show you that I want to do it, and this is exactly what I'll do.
It's a massive gamble, but you were betting on yourself that you were providing enough value up front and showcasing who you were to get the job and execute your plan.
Oh yeah. And I was willing to. And it was like, yeah, full SWOT and just like, and I even wrote out like scheduling. Like, this is how I would schedule your strategic strategy based
gave
on,
them
like, it was
everything.
like the whole 9 yards. Yeah. And
Now, I mean, I would imagine that schedule was as knowledgeable as you could have it, but
Right.
the analytics on the back end, once you get access,
Oh, yeah.
is also going to kind of depict a few changes.
Definitely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. They weren't really posting reels either. So I was like, people, what are you
As soon as you
doing?
post reels, it's takeoff. from
Yeah,
there.
that's
yeah,
it.
so that's where my next question is leading to is you have all these social platforms. You're constantly pushing out for multiple brands,
Mm-hmm.
multiple channels, all within the Dwell brand. How do you manage it?
I don't know. Well, it's been a process. I would definitely say that it took a lot of learning. I've been there for 3 years now, and we've constantly are creating systems that we're trying to set us up for success with our staging, homes for sale division of the brand that existed actually before the retail. And then you have retail, obviously, where you're selling things, products and services. It just took, honestly, a huge team effort. And it's just me in the marketing department, but being able to get my stagers comfortable with their tripods and show them how to use it and what kind of content do I want so that you can send it to me so I can edit it and schedule it out. That was a huge process. And up until it took like 2 years to really get something pretty seamless, I would say. Keep it because I'm not on stage all the time. Like, I can't go, we stage like 4 houses a day, if we're doing our max capacity. I mean, in my eyes, I'm like, oh my gosh, 4, but I'm sure we've done more in a day, but yeah, like I'm like, oh, 4 houses, and then also we're doing all these deliveries, and then I'm in the market because I got to take pictures of everything. But it's just like, I think being able to lean on your team and create systems that set you up for success. It's taken a while, so it's a lot of communication, and then just being willing to take constructive criticism and feedback back and be like, okay, yeah, we'll just pivot. Okay, yeah, sure. We don't have to post that kind of reel. That's fine. And like,
I get so hurt when someone tells me I can't post something.
Oh.
I'm like, oh,
I can attest
but
to
I
that.
need to.
and-
I can attest to that.
yes. And that is where I'm actually very lucky because once I kind of got the trust going, because I was very like, this is your brand. Like, I want to take care of it. Once we kind of got that trust going, it's just like full steam ahead. And now I don't think they've told me like, oh, I'm not so sure about that I can't remember the last time except for, hey, can we post more? And I was like, okay, yes, of course. So, which is
How
cool.
often do you post?
So both accounts get at least a reel a day and a static post a day.
Okay.
And then market gets at least 10 stories a day, staging maybe like 1 or 2, depending on what they have going
What
on.
is both accounts? Does that mean 2 different accounts on Instagram or?
So 2 different, so there's Dwell Home Market and Dwell Staging accounts on Instagram, and then Facebook auto post. And then we have like Dwell Home Market Retail also has a TikTok, and the TikTok gets 4 videos a day. And if I'm really on top of my game, that's
4
the part.
is a lot, yeah.
4 is a lot, and
Yeah.
especially if they're like organic to the platform, not just like a cross post, but we're always making sure that we're cross posting because Instagram is where most of our audience is. So at the very least, Instagram is being taken care of.
I was saying that's
Yeah.
what needs to get the focus.
Yeah. And if you're talking about like, how do you manage all these accounts? Then you're also talking about TikTok and Pinterest and YouTube Shorts. And a lot of that is scheduling, just like cross posting, and then trying to find time to make that organic content too. But I really try to take care of our audience on Instagram because that's where like most of our traffic is coming from and most of our engagement.
And within that engagement, you're actually getting legitimate inquiries for
yeah.
the product that
yeah.
you're posting.
Yeah.
So you responsible for answering and saying this is $8.99 and
Yes.
you can go here to buy it.
Yes, so I'm constantly sending links. I'm very luckily now there is someone on customer service who is logged in and they can handle it if I'm like in a meeting or something like that. We kind of tag team that, which I'm very thankful for. But we are constantly sending like, we're also manual. I haven't found like a platform that I necessarily maybe trust yet to do like the automatic like comment style for this. So we're manually doing that all the time.
I've set those up, but I don't love them really.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about them. And then like if somebody says like something random. I found on some of them, if they randomly say a word inside of a different question, it'll send the link and it doesn't make sense. And so you're like, I don't know. But
It's a major friction point because then you can lose them like that.
Yeah.
When they realize, oh, I'm just talking to an automated.
Yeah.
People, I'm sure they love that they're talking to you on the other end.
I think that's like one of the best parts is that we're so personal with the brand that we allow me, or if I'm on vacation, whoever is doing it, to just be like, hey, it's me. Like, and sometimes I've even like sent people, this is so funny, like somebody was like, hey, like I really want that, but I can't come in. I live like 2 hours away. Like I'm 5'4". Do you have anybody that could send a picture? Like, do your feet hit the floor when you sit in this couch? And I was like, I'm also 5'4". So I like set up my tripod and took a video and I was like, here I am, like sitting here. And she bought it. You know, it's like we might look bigger because we have 50 something thousand, but the difference between us and West Elm is not the product, because we're selling the same thing, same manufacturer, everything. We're just selling it for cheaper because we can. It's that you can actually talk to us. So it's like, oh.
I mean, those two things go a long way for a business. The fact that I can actually talk to you and you're going to sell me the same thing for cheaper, so you actually care about my pockets.
Yeah.
All right, I'll spend with you.
We had someone in today that was like, oh, you have a cloud dupe. And I was like, honey, it's not a dupe. It's the real thing, which we have a video about that too. Yeah.
All right.
Dupe home market.
Yeah. So you guys have worked through the personalization component. You sort of post a bunch.
Yeah.
But yet you also mentioned in your intro that you do some branding for the company and working through the website as well.
Yes. So talking about a pivotal moment in my career as well, I remember very vividly when Jeff like sat down next to me at the desk and was like, hey, do you know anything about Shopify? And I was like, no, but I'll figure it out. And at this point, I'm like just a social media manager. Like I haven't like built out this like department of like responsibility for me. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, sure. And so our first iteration of the website was me going on Shopify on a free theme and like trying to figure this out. And it doesn't connect to our,
The back end of the website.
the back end of our store yet. And I'm like, oh gosh, like this. And I was manually making sure that all the quantities were correct at every single day. I also was taking iPhone photos of furniture on the floor. They're like so dark. And I'm like, I wish I had a screenshot of it. I'm sure I do somewhere of that website, but it's so different now because that's how we convinced like, oh, we should get a camera and oh, we should like set up a space in the store to make it the studio and like get these really nice pictures going. And now I have a graphic designer who works 8 hours a week with me. So I'm able to do like AI and it looks so much different. And we have a website developer who I just randomly found like attacked in the store, and I was like, you do website development? Can you help us?
That I do web development?
I was just literally walking him around. Well, it was actually his friend, and he was like, yeah, I'm a coder. And I was like, you are? What do you do? And he's like, websites. And I said, we need help, please. And he was like, I'm contracted. You can call my friend. And he's like the best person ever. And so he's constantly working with us, and now we have like a custom theme. It's like so cute because I'm like, oh, our website has grown so much. And I learned how to code a little bit. So,
nice. My coding experience just comes from MySpace back in the day.
Oh, gosh.
I was heavy on coding back then. I wanted to ask you something. I know you're going to keep taking us further. I wanted to go back just a moment and ask you this question. When you sent that video to the client where you were sitting on the couch, did you know I'm going to send a video because it's going to mean more to them? Or did you just do it out of instinct?
Really instinct for me because... yeah, I wasn't necessarily thinking like, oh, this is going to really make her feel connected. It just was like, of course I would help you. Like, I try to treat everyone in the DMs as though you're just texting your friend. And so I'm like, if you can feel as comfortable like you're texting your friend, which is how we try to make people feel in the store. We offer complimentary drink like beer and wine.
Hello.
Yeah. Get shopping. And like our design service is free. Like we want to be no pressure. And so I think no pressure is like, we're just friends. So none of us work on commission.
In retrospect, did you feel that video made the difference of getting the sale? Or do you think that if you had just sent a text or a picture, it would have been different?
If I sent a picture and I was like, or even dimensions of like, oh, this, like maybe we would have gotten the sale, but I don't think that we would have the same feeling as, wow, these people really care. And like, I feel like I know this person. I think it would have just been like I'm just buying something from a store.
Yeah, because there's been a thing lately, like a lot of the big people, like Gary Vee, for instance, are talking about instead of sending texts or pictures, send videos. Get like really accountable for what you say and personal, so they can see who this is that I'm speaking to. And that way, if they ever A, just run across you, they might recognize you. B, if they come into your store, they see you in person, there's an instant connection. So yeah, I mean, I've been definitely on the side of like, should I just send this video to this person? I do a lot of voice notes now. I haven't broken ground and sent a video to somebody yet. But.
My friends and I send Wednesday waffles. We saw it on TikTok. You send a video, like a 30-second, minute-long video of you, and usually we're in the car and it's just like propped up and we're driving, and I'm like, okay, Wednesday waffle, like this is our, yeah, it's like so strange. One of my friends found it on TikTok, and we just do like a life update on Wednesdays rather than like texting back and forth, and you just watch the video whenever you have time and make a comment, you know. It's kind of funny.
That's going to be mandatory at
Mandatory.
TSM.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wednesday waffles here.
I'm going to call it TSM Taco Tuesdays.
I like that.
Yeah. We're gonna roll with it.
Careful, LeBron trademarked Taco Tuesday, so.
Oh gosh.
I don't think I think that's been squashed already. But besides the point, I don't know where the segue is, because you took
Might not be a segue.
you took us backwards.
At Dwell Home Market, like setting up the Shopify was particularly important for you. But was that like a proud day when you got it connected, or was there like a moment that was like you left and you said to your family, your husband, like, "Oh my God, I did this," or this happened?
We actually went live and like dropped the website once it was kind of working and everything. And I just remember being like I dressed up and I was so proud of myself. And I was like, I can't believe I figured this out. It definitely was a moment that I was like, okay, we can just figure this out. Like, does anybody really know exactly what they're doing? Like, I'm with all these people who I feel like, you know, run all these companies, and really we're all just trying to figure it out one day at a time. And that's what I think is so great about social media too, is like Shopify is constantly updating. Like now they have AI, and you can edit right in the app without having to export the photos, and they're moving with us. And that's what I love about Shopify. It's a Shopify ad. That's what I love about Shopify, is they're like constantly updating. And what I hope, please, is that a Shopify expert will, or one of the developers will, work with us, because at some point it's going to be a situation where Dwell really needs to be able to show like AI furniture with different configurations and things like that. And those websites do exist. Like obviously other furniture places have that, but we want to stay on Shopify. And so, and if we want to stay on Shopify, I need Shopify to call me. So I'm like, please, which could be awesome. Yeah.
I bet they'll call.
I hope so.
We'll do our part.
Thank you.
Kevin's got people at Shopify.
There we go.
I'll just start crying. I'll be like, thank you.
I'm gonna make a phone call real quick.
Yeah.
So I talked to you previously, and you had told me that you've made it a really big point in your life to meet with other marketers, other creative people. Could you tell me a little bit about that and how that's impacted your career journey?
Oh, definitely. There was a point where my boss was kind of like, you know, we're going to teach you as much as we possibly can, but it might be beneficial to get a mentor that is in your space specifically.
Your boss told you that?
Yeah. Wow. He was just kind of like, you know, let's just talk to people who are further along in their careers than we are, because he's constantly talking. We're constantly learning, trying to grow, be a sponge is what we always say. And so, yeah, I was like talking to my dad about it, because he's like Tampa local, knows everybody. And he was like, oh, I have the perfect person for you. She's the marketing director of everything at this huge company in Tampa. And I was like, all right. And we met. She was like, oh my gosh, when we met, we were like, we are the same person. You know, you're just like further along in your career than me. Like, I'm just starting, and you're, you know, you've been doing this a long time. And we had the same type of like, I worked for free for a little while, and then I was by myself, and now I have a team. And so it was really amazing, because I was able to ask her questions that I wasn't sure how to get the answers for. What questions should I be asking my boss to get the type of information and the data that I need to help us succeed? And so we were able to just like, and we've met like maybe every other month, every 3 months or so, but constantly texting, and it was like sending trends back and forth, or sending different like information of like, oh, I found this agency that I love, because it's great because we're in completely separate fields. But yeah, I love being able to talk to somebody, especially since I am like kind of the only marketing person at Dwell. I think we all do our part, but to be able to talk to somebody who's like very in this space is so important. Like I almost feel like my professor in college was amazing, and she was like head of Quaker marketing for so long, and so she was always really great to talk to too. But which I still call her every once in a while, but to have someone like in Tampa that can like see from the outside and is a customer and was like, this is what I'm seeing. You know, my friends are customers. Like this is the third party. It's just so good because that knowledge is so rich. And yeah.
Does she keep it real with you? Does she tell you like, hey, this post you made is not good, or this idea that you have? Because I have friends who will like straight up call me and be like, hey, you should redo this. This was not as good as I know you could do.
Yeah.
Or they'll be in a conversation we're talking about, and I say an idea, and they're like, no, that's that. But I value. I don't let anyone just tell me that. There's certain people that I really value.
Oh,
Did
definitely.
your mentor do that for you in any situation?
She does. She more so will go along the side of like not social, but she does like overall strategy. She does do social there, but it's like overall strategy and like mindset and like mentorship of like how can I lead my team better as my team grows and things like that. I do have a friend who will tell me straight up. And she is like, she's my age, and she's like really amazing. She has a small business too. And so she's like, she grew on TikTok. She's like huge TikToker and during the pandemic and everything like that. And she'll text me and be like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? I had to get something out. And she's like, no, take that down right now. Or
Love
she'll be
that.
like, we need different cover photos. Like she's part of the reason why our covers got so much more aesthetic. Cause I was like, what does it matter? Like it looks fine. And she's like, no, it must,
love
because
that.
some things are just like really important to some people. And,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Yeah. Just like it's important to not let anyone just tell you what to do.
Oh, yeah.
But finding those people who can tell you and be very honest with you is so important. A big thing that I've always told people is don't tell me what's right with it. Tell me what's wrong with it. Because if I nailed everything, then I've got a problem.
Yeah.
And there needs to be something wrong, right?
There's gotta be
There's got to
something.
be some growth and development, for sure.
Oh yeah. Always growing. Always room to grow too.
You had mentioned that you had that job for free for a year. Free, didn't get paid, whatever.
Paid
Yeah.
in knowledge.
Yeah, there you go.
Got my dream job because of it.
There's a lot of see?
Because he called her and was like, do you really? That was scary. And she,
Oh, so you're leaving something out of the story.
oh, sorry. I forgot about that.
Wait a
yeah.
second.
I left her because she was like, the point of this is to get you something awesome. And so I had put her as my like reference. And after he texted me or after they let me know that I had the position, I texted her and I was like, I'll stay on with you until you find somebody else. So I ended up staying with her for like 4 months or so. And then I was like, okay, when the Shopify thing started happening, I was like, I just can't anymore. But she was like, oh yeah, he called. She was like, I sang your praises. I was like, thank you so much, Liz. You know, like, but she was like, that was the whole point of this anyway. Like, that's totally fine. So, and then she was able to like find somebody. So,
Good.
you know.
Well, yeah,
pretty-
I mean, obviously you need to get paid to
Yeah.
continue, just life in general.
For sure.
There's a lot of people, a lot of talk about, free work and internships and, all these non-paid opportunities. Dylan and I came up at least doing one, if not 2 or 3 jobs for free or, internships or whatever the case may be.
yeah.
I know I had them. I had one internship in college, several other, what's your value of, how do you value doing something for the knowledge, and how long should you do it for? What are some of the traits that you recommend someone look for in order to, justify that free commitment?
I definitely think like it is so hard because you're like, oh, free work, all this stuff. But after doing it, there would have been no way that I would have gotten the opportunity that I had at Dwell if I hadn't had that, because what it showed, and we, like Christy and Jeff and I have actually talked about it, like what it showed to them is that I was willing to put in the work, the extra work. And it's kind of, I played sports in college and it's kind of the same thing. Like, why do you stay after practice? And like, nobody's watching. because you need to put in like extra work so that you can be better.
Mama mentality right here.
Hey, oh my goodness, greatness is in front of us.
Gosh, no. But yeah, just like I think, I think a year. You know, if you're doing something else, it kind of depends on what you're doing. Like if you can learn, you know, if you're a quick learner and you can learn graphic design and Photoshop and like all of that in like 3 months, then like, okay, it's 3 months. But if you're like, I'm still learning. I mean, I was there for like a year but also it was after, you know, it's after hours and all this stuff. But, I think it just depends on how fast you're learning, what's the pace. Like it is super valuable. I think it shows the right people that you are willing to really put in the work. You're willing to learn. You're willing to be a student of the game. I have a free intern right now, and I think she's just wonderful. And I like bought her lunch the other day, and I was like, I'm sorry that we can't pay you. Like, I wish I could. And she was like, she literally said, you pay me in knowledge. And I was like,
Ooh.
okay, and she's in college. And so it kind of works out because like, you know, she's at this position in her life where she's not trying to like pay for life yet, really. And she does have another job, and I just work around her. I do think that there is a healthy boundary between like, hey, I don't pay you. You know, we can work as you so please. You want to learn as much as you want, like your hours are up to you. I think that's important too. So it has to be kind of the right person, because I do think a lot of people can just like really take advantage, and then they're like, oh, just turn in and burn in on interns. But I think if you really care about helping someone learn and advance in their career, like she's a senior. I think she's a senior now. But if I had known what she knows right now, like what I taught her to do, I would be maybe so much further now. Yep. Obviously the path is the path, and like it's working out the way it's supposed to. But I was like, man, if I knew how to edit videos like that 5 years ago, it'd be super different. Because I was looking at old videos that I made, and I was like, look how these are all the things I would change. And then, you know, it's so cool.
Who are your biggest influences that are creators online, like right now? So I look at like Mr. Beast, and I'm blown away constantly by him. I look at Gary Vee or
we watch Gary Vee a ton. Like my boss and I are sending those back and forth, and just like, you know, following along. That was someone early on that he kind of like directed me to. Personally, I love Alex and John.
Okay.
Which is Kat Stickler's, you know, cousin.
Yeah.
And of course Kat Stickler, obviously a Tampa girly. But yeah, then they're just kind of funny. But their content is interesting and fun. Mm-hmm. And I always try to figure out how, like, why would you follow a furniture account? We should be interesting and fun too. And then I follow like a ton of marketing girls, and we're just like, I'm always listening and trying to learn and listening to how many people are saying what. And, you know, it always makes me laugh when people are like, I just got off the phone with Meta. And I was like, me too, sister. They just want you to spend more money. You know, for sure. I think they say
Love
different
my
things.
Google calls. Those are great.
Yeah, those are so great. But, you know, I think they say different things to creators than brands. But
that's true. Have you met anybody? Anyone that you've looked up to?
Kat Stickler.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That I hugged her. I saw her. I met her at a conference, and then she came to Dwell, and she actually bought a chair.
This is by coincidence?
No, she came for an event that we invited her to, and I invited her through a friend of hers. I would love to meet Alex and John just because I just think they're super fun, and obviously they're related. But yeah, I met Kat Stickler. I met Giselle one day. Who else have I met? I met... I'm blanking on her name at this very second, but she lives in St. Pete, and she's just like super sweet.
Could be a lot of people.
Yeah, just like a ton of.
Very vague.
But you like meet. Clara. Clara and herself is her handle.
Oh, gotcha.
And she's just like a super positive. Yeah. You know.
Doesn't she run one of the Tampa, like Visit Tampa type things?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think not her.
Okay.
I've seen her stuff. My wife follows her.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Yeah, and that's like, you know, because it resonates with me personally, but then I'm able to take that type of like successful content and apply it to a brand, which really, if we're making this brand personalized to connect better with audiences, that's what you want to do anyway.
So with that said, that was actually going to be a question on personal brand versus company brand.
Personal brand.
Personal brand.
Personal brand.
Why?
Because especially right now, all of the research and everything is saying that people want to follow people. You know, we're made to be in community. Like, that's what we like are drawn to. That's why TikTok and Instagram work so well, because it's just like we want those things. If you're looking at it from the good side, you know what it was for, connection. But I think that a big part of it is if you come to Dwell, I literally work there, and I'm like, yeah, of course you can. You can sell. You can buy from me. Like, you know exactly who I am. Like, the funny part is when I got engaged, people noticed because I'd be like hitting the camera, and they were like, "Oh, hey!" Like, it's, you know. But I think people love to connect with people, and I think that's where a lot of furniture companies kind of miss the mark. Is like, why would you follow a furniture company? Like, yeah, you're following for design, that's great, but as soon as you don't need it anymore, or if it's not something that interests you all the time, like, yeah, I don't really want a million photos about sofas. But if we're telling a good story, and this sofa was named after this client because they're one of our best clients, you could have something named after you too.
You're telling me I could get a couch named after me?
You can get something named after you. Yeah,
a stool.
A Dwell client. All of my things that were named after me are now gone. But I know, because we don't keep the same stuff. We just rotate it. But yeah, so I just think it's like, yeah, we're a brand, and that's really great and everything. And I think, you know, people still want to follow. But like, why do you follow Wendy's?
Because they're hysterical.
They are.
On Twitter, yeah.
Because they're absolutely
X.
hysterical.
X.
Yes, it'll never be X.
Get it right over there.
I refuse.
No, yeah, they're the best on X by far.
So with personal and business branding, what advice would you give to a business brand on how to incorporate people into it?
I think that they just need to start incorporating their team, whether that's their marketing team or their design team. Like, we're always trying to do. I know my designers don't like to be in front of the camera, but we work them up too. I got fun tiny mics. And so,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I just got a new set and I'm really excited about it. But I think incorporating the people of the company, because you don't want to just follow something sterile. They want to feel connected to it, and when they want to think like, oh, you know, like, if I'm going to, like, people do influencing for Target. Mm-hmm. And if I'm following this person who has this, you know, they're just sharing their life and they so happen to go to Target all the time and now they're a Target creator, like, I'm going to be like, oh, I need something. I'm going to go to Target, you know, because my friend told me to, or because these people that I trust that I'm recognizing. So I think brands just need to take the risk. And I know that's really hard because I know there's been a lot of debate out there about, like, well, what if that person leaves? Like, what if I left Dwell? Story Steal Girl is how I've become to known in the community. But, I mean, because we are a personal brand and you see everybody on there, it wouldn't be weird.
You just have to take that risk.
Yeah.
As a business.
Like, if I'm on vacation and Kat does an Instagram takeover, people love it. They're like, Kat, you know, she did it before me. Like, she did the lives before me. She does a great job. And, but it's, people know, they know all of our people. And that we're lucky in that because we only have 40 people and there's like all 40 don't work in the front. So, you know, you don't see everybody, but I do think brands just need to like Coca-Cola, just like pick somebody, not an athlete to do like a Subway ad. You know, you just pick somebody who's like behind the scenes at Coca-Cola. Like, that'd be so fun. I want to see that.
That's a good point.
Micro-influencers is huge.
That's a good point, though. Like the Subway, Coke ads, Pepsi, whatever company you want to name, like they always just have like a new spokes, temporary.
It's almost like a joke. It's like, who gets the Subway deal this year? You know, or like, except for, but you know who does really well in the personal branding, even though it's not, you don't actually know that person, is Jake from State Farm. Like, State Farm's Jake, like that. And then now he's like friends with Patrick Mahomes. And I'm like, everybody loves Jake from State Farm because they created this character. Yeah. It's insurance.
And isn't it the second Jake from State Farm or third? Like, they've actually
It's the second or the third, yeah.
I think it's the second.
Yeah.
I can picture the first and obviously the one who currently is. But yeah, he's friends with Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's a good point. Like, they make a character. I mean, there's a few, like Matthews and Core have their representatives. Like in our industry, those are gear manufacturers, and like I can picture them. I couldn't really tell you their name, maybe, but
you can picture them.
Yeah, I wonder if there's value in that. Do you have an opinion on is it that value for a business to just show people, or build a real audience around
A
certain people in the business?
singular person.
I think there's value in both. I think that
Political answer. Hello.
yeah. It depends. I like everything in marketing. It depends.
It definitely does.
But you do need to show people. I think it depends on like what kind of angle you want to go at. And so like if your brand is built to have this like Jake from State Farm character or Flo from Progressive, like I mean, I remember their names. Like that's just like, it's the whole thing, and like it could be anybody because it changes all the time, which is fine. And that works for such a huge company. But I think if you're Dwell, or if you're like a local coffee shop like Buddy Brew, I would love to see the people of Buddy Brew. I would love to see them doing like more personalized, funny, trendy content, because I follow coffee shops that are like not even on my side of the country, because I think their stuff is funny, and it's just like relatable. But they obviously have a social media manager who's showing different people, so you get to see a bunch of different people who work there. But yeah, I think like if say Dwell opened 1 million stores and we're all over the world now, and you just have to have like a Dwelly character, it's like
So the larger companies maybe just focus in on one individual that could be that representative that is a character, and they can build up the narrative around that character.
Especially, I think if they're scared of giving the reins to some random person, not random necessarily, but like,
but then it's very contractual, and you're this
Right.
person for a long time, and you're locked in.
well,
we're paying
Jake,
you.
we're on
You
the
can't-
second alliteration of Jake.
Yeah,
But after how many years?
Right,
I
that's
couldn't.
true.
I couldn't tell you. I mean,
Yeah.
and
the first Jake, he
But
asked for too much money, and they said,
Get out of here. I don't know. I might have an opinion about that, though, because it's almost like maybe I just don't know because I'm not a theater person. But it's like when the Marvel characters or like superheroes are like, we don't want to be superheroes anymore. And they're like, I'm like, stop it. You're making $1 bazillion dollars. Like, just relax.
Like, no, you have to be a superhero.
I would totally be,
the
Madalyn
characters-
from State Farm.
the characters from The Office, like for the most part, haven't broken away from those characters. 'Cause
Right.
They were 10 seasons.
Yeah, so long.
I mean,
And also, like, aren't they still making money on it still being on?
residuals. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd be chilling.
Several of them haven't really done much in their career,
Mm-hmm.
not because they haven't tried, but because they just didn't succeed in other roles.
Yeah.
But they're fine.
Well, did you know, talking about that, so off topic, did you know Steve Carell just did his first Broadway show?
No.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
bet it was good.
I just saw something pop
It's
up
called
this
like
morning.
Uncle V something.
Is that when John Krasinski just saw him for the first time in like a year or two? Something just popped up in my feed.
No, that
this
I
morning.
think is the If movie. John Krasinski's If movie.
okay.
Yeah, I
They
saw
were
that
teasing
cue.
that.
It was really cute.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, I miss you, But no, like randomly. Yeah, he's
Okay.
like on Broadway. Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but also surprised.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of one of
Personal branding.
those. Yep. I mean, he's done a great
Steve.
job. Speaking of that, but yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
I just want to know if you could do the character that you do.
Oh,
online.
the Story Steal girl? See, it's not a character. It's just me. It is me.
Personal branding. It's
Personal
a little
branding.
bit of a character.
So, yes. So, this is funny. I'll give you the backstory and then I'll give you the chant. So, we were standing in the warehouse, and, furniture takes up a lot of space, and you only have so much space. And so, Jeff, my boss, was like, how can we get rid of this stuff? And, like, we can sell it at a discount. And I was like, why don't we, like, do like daily deals or something? And then we just kept talking, and I was like, what if we like do a story steal? And we had just been talking about one by Everybody Knows the Rules, and I was like, somehow, I don't know how I did it, but I came up with this chant. And so this still happens today. They'll give me something and I'll say, okay, everybody be quiet. I'm always like, quiet on the set, everybody. And I'll go on the story. Just like this. We're back again with the story steal, and everybody knows the deals. No refunds, no returns, no exchanges. Everything comes as is and must be picked up within 48 hours, or we can deliver for a fee. This is what we have for you today. Swipe. And so then it'll be like, this coffee table was originally $8.99, now going for $99. First to DM wins. And so then they DM me. They used to have to call in to pay. Now they DM. I send them a link through the website. They buy it. Liquidation. So we're like,
Is it that big of a deal?
It is that big of a deal. People ask for it. They will DM if we haven't done one in a few days. I had like 4 or 5 DMs the other day because I was doing story steals and they were like, we want coffee tables. And I was
Make
like,
sure I'm following
yes, ma'am.
Joelle.
You can have coffee tables.
Yeah.
I'm
it's-
looking for a house right now. I am following.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Hey, we do free design service.
And I heard she does design boards.
Yeah, and I do design boards now, which is actually so fun. But
So she'll give you a design board, tour you the facility, give you a steal of a deal,
steal of a deal.
and then you can do a TikTok with her.
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
perfect.
If you'd bless me with being in a TikTok with you, I'd be forever.
Done.
Okay.
Done. But yeah, it's so much so a thing that I have been recognized in public as the girl who does story steals, which is why they're like, oh, the story steal girl. And then so much so a thing that we literally 2 days ago changed our on sale page on our website to steals.
Nice.
Yeah. And so now we're just going to put them all there. And I'm still going to do the chant, still going to present it online. The code will still be there. But before, I was making the product online and hiding it so that you couldn't, you have to know what to search. Like we've had people actually go in, if like story steals don't sell, and they'll type in story steal to the search bar. It's just like not in any category, but you can still find it. And they'll buy it. And I'm like, you guys, you're not supposed to do that, which is great. I mean,
Started something.
of course you are.
Smart.
So now we're just we see the demand.
Yep.
And so we're just going to put it on the page, and the headline is just going to be scratch and dent this one available, and once you buy it, then we'll just tag it for you. That's it. Yeah. So, and that, when we do lawn sales, which is where we sell all of our staging furniture so they can buy new stuff, we do it like once or twice a year. Now we're just going to do it online. It's going to be lawn sale every day.
Just give me a heads up on those days.
I'll let you know.
All right.
Keep your eyes on the steals page. Notifications on.
Gonna need it. Final question. You're talking to up-and-coming marketers, and what advice can you give them? Maybe tailor it a little bit more towards if you see a demand, steals, lean into it with your customer. Like what things should someone be keeping an eye out with their clientele?
I definitely think first off advice is don't be afraid to work for free for a little while. Even if it's oh, you have a job and but you're learning on the side. I did a lot of that. I still do a lot of it. Off the clock, I'm going to watch this video. I'm at home, whatever. You got to stay a student of the game always because things are changing thanks to the algorithm all the time. Just wild.
So nice.
Love it so much. But honestly, sometimes it's sometimes it's good for you if you catch it first.
I have to ask you something off air. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think something really unique that I've been able to do at Dwell is because I started as a salesperson and because my desk is literally facing the front door. I can listen to my customer all the time, and I am answering the DMs all the time. And so I know what people are looking for. I know what questions they're asking. I'm able to answer those questions. My schedule and the way that I post has gotten a million times better because I know what they're going to ask me. They're going to ask me how much it costs. They want to see the whole thing. They want to see it styled. And so I'm carouseling these posts or making sure my reels are catered to that, unless I want to invoke some engagement, and then I leave out answers. But I think just
That's smart.
yeah. So you're don't
okay.
put the price, and people will comment and be like, "What's the price?" And you're like, "Thank you so much." So if you're hurting for a little engagement, that's what you do. But anyway, I think sometimes marketing can become removed because you are marketing and you're in your department and you can work from home because everything you can do is from home. But I think even if however your setup is, even if you're working for Lululemon and you just ask the manager, can I go work a Lululemon? That's why undercover bosses exist. Sometimes you just need to know what your actual client is asking for. Sometimes the data tells us a lot, who's our target customer, but I want to hear their voice and I want to know what they're saying and what they're thinking, and not just the people that are commenting online, because some people aren't gonna do that. You want to know exactly what they're doing. So I think that's a really cool opportunity and something different that not everybody gets to have is I think if somebody who was remote and said, hey boss, can I come into the store or can I just sit at my restaurant for 4 hours and work from there so I can listen to what my hostesses are saying and how we can do things, I think they'd be super impressed by that. It's I think that would be really cool.
I think you're spot on.
Thank you.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Well, we do have to wrap up. We're getting really close to the end of our time.
Oh, geez.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Could you tell just everybody one last final thing on where to find you?
Yeah, so my Dwell is at Dwell Home Market, and then there's at Dwell Staging, so you can find us there, especially for steals and deals. And then personally, Madalyn_South.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you,
Appreciate you.
guys.
Well,